Shabbat Shalom. This week we read Parshat Vayera. And I want to focus on one piece of the Torah portion, but I want to begin, as I often do, with a story. When I was in rabbinical school, I was teaching part-time at the Solomon Schechter High School in Long Island. And it was really my first serious introduction into what it meant to be a classroom teacher. I'll never forget when I had my first series of parent-teacher conferences. They were nerve-wracking, surprising, but they were also wonderful for one element of them that I did not expect. At this particular high school, the students attended their parent-teacher conferences. So they weren't parent-teacher conferences. They were parent-teacher-student conferences. The high school had two reasons as to why they did this. One, the teacher nor the parent shouldn't be saying anything they wouldn't say in front of the student. Two, and I think most importantly, it taught these students to learn how to advocate for themselves. It's something we throw out there all the time. We have to learn to advocate for ourselves. When we're young, someone advocates for us. But as we get older, we need to learn to do it for ourselves. But I've often wondered, who advocates for us before God? We're supposed to have a real relationship with God. So who is it that advocates for us before God? Well, I think in the absence of an Abraham, we advocate for ourselves before God. But what does that look like? I think for me, when I argue with God or I advocate for myself before God, it probably usually looks like me asking God to do something for me. Something I want really bad. Like, please God, let the Eagles win and I will do X, Y, and Z. That one's clearly not working. But I think maybe in this week's Torah portion we see what advocating before God really looks like. Abraham argues with God about Sodom and Amorah, Sodom and Gomorrah, these horrible places. And Abraham tries to save them and fights with God and advocates for them. So maybe advocating before God isn't advocating for ourselves, but having enough strength and character to know when you need to advocate for somebody else. Even somebody who intuitively you might not think deserves that very action. Shabbat Shalom.